Welcome to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo. Brought to you by Coastal Appliances, Island Automotive, Somerset Mortgage, The Emerald Princess, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care and Media Care, Misty's Element Massage, Jenkins Nissan, and by Loco's Grill and Pub. Now here's the voice of the Glynn Academy Red Terrors, Kevin Price.
Welcome to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kevin Price on location at Loco's Grill and Pub. We are here each and every Sunday night at 6:30 for the entire Glynn Academy season. This first segment of the Hidalgo Show is sponsored by Island Automotive, Coastal Appliances, The Emerald Princess, Somerset Mortgage, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care and Media Care, Misty's Element Massage, Jenkins Nissan, and of course Loco's. Now with us, the head coach of the Glynn Academy Red Terrors, Coach Rocky Hidalgo. Coach, welcome to the show once again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So tonight, the second week of the NFL season, we also have some Packer fans here, and our team playing on the TV right behind us as well, trailing the New York Jets at the present time, 21-16. So we'll see how they do. But Coach, of course, Glynn Academy coming off the off week. You're 2-1 on the season, 1-0 still in region. Of course, no game this past Friday with the off week, but you were over in Waycross to watch Ware and Coffee, who, of course, you will play Coffee this week, and we'll talk about that game and the Trojans here in a moment. But just tell us about the off week. How was it for Glynn?
You know, it was a good week. We had 3 good hard days. Went out there and really worked on our tackling, our physicality, just basic fundamentals. We had football camp, is the way we described it. Went out and worked on our basics, and I believe we came back out a better football team when it's all said and done.
And we kind of talked about it last week, but just kind of reiterate what you guys were trying to accomplish, and just mention some of the things that you thought you got done in the work week.
You know, one of the things that we really worked on defensively was trying to get our fits defensively from the secondary position, linebackers in secondary to fit up better against the run. We worked on that. We worked on our run game. We moved a couple of pieces around on the offensive line, just to kind of experiment to see how that worked. Worked on some young players, putting some young players in there, and hopefully spelling some of our older kids and giving us a chance to rest.
Well, let's talk about some of those adjustments, if you don't mind. Just kind of talk about some of the things you tinkered with on offense and how they look.
Well, we just slid some offensive line guys around at different spots. That was the thing that we had to do. We looked at moving Frank Farrell inside the guard, outside at tackle, Tommy Craig some at center. Just played with the pieces a little bit and see how guys competed there and how they fit there. Not so much necessarily for replacements right now, but maybe if somebody goes down with an injury, something like that. We looked at Jeremiah Anderson at running back some, and he showed some good things in the last game versus Camden. You know, and finding a few pieces on the defensive line. We've got to play more guys on the defensive line, so that was a big part of what we were trying to do.
And obviously the turnovers and the penalties have kind of been a big factor in some of the way things have done this year. Were you able to look at those things and make any progress in those areas this week, at least on the practice field?
On the practice field, we never fumble the ball, so it's we spent a lot of time in ball security, strip drill, open field tackling. We did a lot of that stuff. Those are things that we've done previous. I think a lot of it is just just having some mental discipline out there and securing that football, working on keeping it against our shoulder pads high and tight, and as we continue to move forward, I think we'll continue to get better at it.
This is the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. And Coach, you mentioned 3 days of practice, so I guess it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You gave the kids off Monday and then also Friday. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We went the middle of the week this week. Sometimes I give them Monday and Tuesday off. Sometimes I give them Thursday, Friday off. It kind of varies on what we're trying to do as coaches. But yeah, we gave them Monday and Friday off and had 3 really long, about 2.5-hour practices, and just kind of got after it real physical and sent them home to rest up and get ready to get prepared for Coffee.
And obviously you had 3 pretty physical games to open the season against 3 pretty solid opponents. I know health-wise y'all were pretty good overall, but was there a lot of bumps and bruises and things of that nature that y'all were maybe able to get healed up, which is kind of always the key in an off-week type situation?
Well, we're still waiting for John Wynn to come back from a knee injury he suffered in preseason football. Troy Rogers had a pretty significant ankle sprain versus Camden County, and we're hoping he comes back on Monday and is healed up and ready to practice. He went Thursday a little bit, but he was kind of gimpy, so we're hoping he's fully healed. We've got some guys with some nicks and elbows, but that's kind of par for the course of the football season.
Exactly, and I know you mentioned some names, particularly of some younger guys that you put into the mix. Was there anybody that really stood out in practice this week? Anybody doing any special things or anything you want to see anybody make progress with, and they did that?
Well, I think Zach Lamper had a great week, and Thursday he had he's throwing the ball really well, and if it carries over into the football games, we have a chance to be really dynamic on offense. He was throwing pellets on Thursday when we left. He gave the defense fits. His footwork's improved. I think that's one thing that really just stood out to me. I think Cameron Tresman at tackle is getting better. Frank Farrell's a kid on the offensive line, kind of all over the place, has done really well for us over there. He had a good week of practice. On the defensive side of the ball, we've got two young linebackers in Preston Joseph and Hunter Hall, who's a sophomore and a freshman, who get better and better every day. I think our outside linebackers really improved. I think our secondary, we got better in the secondary from a tackling standpoint, and just kind of learned how to fit against the run, our reads and our fits. Hopefully it'll pay off next Friday night.
And let's talk about the offense, I guess, a little bit. I was kind of looking at y'all's stats the other day, and if I'm right, y'all have pretty good balance so far in between run and the pass, pretty close to a 50-50 ratio, but I know y'all want to go at a fast pace, snapping the ball every 15, 16 seconds. Talk about the tempo and those things. Are y'all being able to play kind of like you want to at this point?
We've had probably too many drop balls and too many errors. You can only go at tempo when you pick that first down up. And that's something that we've had just too many mental mistakes, too many errors, too many drop balls. And it's expected really because we've only been here. What we do offensively is kind of complex. And the kids are picking it up. They get a little better with it every day, and I think hopefully Friday night we'll see an improvement, and you'll see kind of more opportunities for us to go fast and get those extra plays in.
How much of the playbook do you guys actually have installed at this point?
That's a good question. Coach Jackson, if those who don't know our offensive coordinator, Coach Jackson, his playbook comprises about 90% of his brain, I think. He's one of the best football coaches I've ever been around, and he always has got something else he's trying to do. He's been all around the country talking with coaches, but he wants to get 4 or 5 guys involved in the running game, and then build the passing game kind of around that. And right now we're looking at 2 or 3 guys in the running game, so we're not quite there yet. I'd say probably what he wants to do is probably about 50 or 60% overall.
And then sort of the same question on the defensive side. I mean, in terms of coverages and blitz packages and things of that nature, how much of that have y'all really covered as far as what you really would like to do there with Friday?
Defensively, I'm a big believer in you kind of keep it simple. I don't like to do a whole lot of things. I don't believe it's kind of what you do, it's kind of how you do things. But there are some things that we would like to add, but we're still working on some fundamental things that we're just not able to do that. And some of it, hopefully, in the next off week, we'll kind of get to working on things and start installing some of that. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I think eventually next year you'll see, we'll be more versatile defensively because of that.
All right, well, there's more to come on the Rocky Hidalgo Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Right now, these words from our sponsor.
For all of your automotive repair needs, visit Island Automotive, 1950 Demery Road, across from the fire station on St. Simon's Island. They're a family-owned and operated business that has been delivering great service not only to St. Simon's, but to all of Southeast Georgia for over 25 years. Your complete auto repair and auto detailing facility. Online at islandautomotivecenter.com or at 912-638-0888. And go Terrors! Coastal Appliances is your one-stop shop for Whirlpool washers and dryers, Whirlpool refrigerators, and so much more. Coastal Appliances offers free delivery and service after installation and have also been in business for over 30 years. 4727 Altama, next to Sonic, and on the web at appliancesbrunswickga.com, or give them a call at 912-267-0132. Coastal Appliances, Glynn County's only specialty appliance store.
Hop aboard for Texas Hold'em tournaments, roulette, poker, lots of slot action, food, music, and more. Labor Day weekend, Sunday, August 31st, 7 p.m. Cruises depart from Brunswick, Georgia. Call 800-842-0115 or visit EmeraldPrincessCasino.com. Must be 18 years of age and present a government-issued photo ID to board.
I'm Jenkins Nissan.
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 I am Jenkins Nissan.
I'm Donnie Jenkins. We're all Jenkins Nissan, and together we want to show you just how easy buying and servicing your car should be. So please, stop by and experience the Jenkins Nissan difference. Look for the red and white Nissan tent at the corner of Chapel Crossing Road and the Spur, or visit us online at jenkinsnissanofbrunswick.com.
Welcome back to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kevin Price on location from Loco's Grill and Pub on St. Simon's. This segment brought to you by Island Automotive, Coastal Appliances, Jenkins Nissan, and the Emerald Princess. And Coach, we mentioned in the intro that you were over in Waycross Friday night for the big game between Coffee and Ware, two of the better teams in South Georgia, and certainly two of the top teams in our region. Sounds like, first of all, it was a heck of an atmosphere over there with about 9,000, 10,000 people, so pretty good atmosphere for a high school football game on track.
Yeah, you know, I love to go to high school games, especially when I'm not coaching. I can just enjoy it. But, you know, for me, it always is about something's right in the universe when I get to watch a good high school game. You got 9,000, 10,000 people there. The bands are playing. You know, the fans were really enthusiastic. I mean, there was nothing particularly nasty in terms of the fans or anything like that. It was just got a lot of people out there enjoying high school football, watching those kids. They played their tails off, both teams. It was a great game, went down to the wire. It was unfortunate that it kind of came down to an official's call. You know, and I talked to Coach Pruitt on Saturday, and he was really disappointed in you know, the results and kind of what had happened, and understandably so. I'd probably still be mad about it if I were him.
Of course, Ware County won the game 24-21. I think it was 17-14 at the half. Ware went up 24-14 at one time. Coffee came back to make it 24-21, and like you say, we're driving in the game. I think there was a grounding call that got them out of field goal range, and then they had to throw a heave toward the end zone. I guess that's the call he was upset about.
Well, he wasn't upset necessarily about the call, just so much about, you know, nobody wants to lose the game or have that penalty right there at the end. And it was a play that, you know, there was kind of receiver there, and you know, it could have gone either way. I get it. If I had been the official, I'm not sure I would have thrown the flag in that situation. But at the other side is that I understand why they did too. You know, so it's just tough. That's a tough job being an official, and a lot of times you can't be right. That's probably one of those spots that, regardless what he did, he was not going to be right. And if you're a Coffee County fan, you're disappointed. If you're Ware County, you think you made the right call, and you're high-fiving everybody. You know, that's football.
Okay, and of course, Coach, Ware County, the defending Region 10, of course, they have a new coach, Franklin Stevens, who's won state championships elsewhere. Give us your impressions of both teams, Ware and also Coffee, that you'll play this week, and we'll talk about them in a little more detail as well.
You know, they're different teams. Both of them want to run the football. I mean, you look at Coffee County, they have an offensive line. I mean, they are massive. I mean, it's like the carnivals come to town. They brought the elephants out to put the Big Ten up. They've got a lot of size. They're very dynamic at skill positions.
Great awareness by Smith.
You know, and they're a team that can kind of strike from all over the place. Very scary offensively. Ware County's got just tons of foot speed defensively. I mean, you see why they've got that reputation for being a great defensive team. Offensively, they've got a good set of backs, and real physical when they run the football. It was a very physical, hard-nosed game. It was a lot of fun to watch. It would have been great to coach in, and I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to coach this Friday night in a very similar type game.
You're listening to the Rocky Hidalgo Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network, and Coach, I guess let's talk a little bit more about Coffee. What exactly is their base offense, and just kind of if you know some of the personnel that really stand out?
Well, they kind of run that, it's not so much what Auburn does, I guess. If you've seen, it's a little bit like Auburn. They kind of get in the sniffer back, and they're going to read the defense and hand the ball off to some really quality tailbacks, and they've got two quarterbacks who can make things happen. And, if you're not in the right position defensively, they'll keep the ball and take it to the house. They've got a couple of receivers that have length and can make serious plays with the football. They've got a big tight end that also plays defensive end that's committed to Florida State. I think he's 6'8". What's scary is he's 6'8", and their offensive tackle they put next to him, I think he's taller than him. So it's a really dynamic group of kids that they have on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they've got size up front. They're going to be hard to move. We're going to have to play great on the offensive line. Really good skill players. A lot of their guys are very similar to us. They play both ways. Nice size in the linebacker core. Kids played really well downhill. The one thing both teams did very well is they tackled in space well. They didn't give up a lot of big plays, and that was able to keep both teams in the game, get an opportunity on the game.
Obviously, we know what some of the keys are for you in any game, and right now that's kind of eliminating the mistakes y'all made in the first few weeks. But it's specifically against Coffee. Are there any certain keys to the game that we've got to do this or we must do this to get the job done?
Yeah, our defensive line's going to have to play really well. Their offensive line is very good. They do a great job of, in the zone game and when their gap schemes of really comboing up to linebackers, and they do a nice job of picking up all the stunts and blitzes by the defensive line. So we're going to have to play really well and get our pads low because they really do come off the football. And, I preach about this all the time. Our fits on defense are going to be exceptional because they do a nice job of running the zone, running the power, and the quarterback will sneak out the back door if they're not careful with it. Defensively, we're going to have to make plays. Offensively, we're going to have to make some plays. We're going to have guys catch a football in a crowd and make a guy miss. Likewise, we're going to have to run the football. We're going to have to go up there against six or seven guys in the box when we're in our one-back stuff, and we're going to have to put a hat on a hat and run the football down there and make some decisions and get the ball out in a hurry. But the biggest thing is we're going to have to hold on to the football and cut the mistakes out.
And Coach, all games are big. I know that. All region games are important. They all factor into things. But Coffee's a team that a lot of people kind of had in the playoff mix before the season started, at least in one of those four slots. Here you are sitting at 1-0 as well with a key win over Brunswick, and that whole head-to-head could come into play later down the line. But this is kind of one of those pivotal games in terms of getting yourself in that playoff mix and in that conversation and kind of getting that head-to-head against Coffee if you can.
Well, if we win this game, we've got two of the 3 or 4 teams in the region that were picked to go to the playoffs. We beat them, so it's important. Probably gives us a leg up on a home playoff game. Really want to know the truth. We're aware of that, but we want to go out and improve as a football team. We want to make sure that we go as coaches, and we want to focus on us. The game is never about our opponents. Never about Camden County or Brunswick or Coffee County. It's about the Glynn Academy Red Terrors. And if we go and continue to improve and do what we're supposed to do, then we'll have an opportunity to win the game. And we're trying to teach our kids that it's not about, too often we get sidetracked or distracted on who the opponent is, and it's not really about them. And that's something that our kids have to learn. This is about us. And if we take care of our business, then everything else will take care of itself.
All right, we will be right back to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
Relax. Misty's Element Massage specializes in helping you do just that. Located at 138 Village Market on St. Simon's Island, Misty's Element Massage offers deep tissue massages, therapeutic massages, scrubs, creams, body wraps, and much more. The perfect gift for that special someone, not to mention sports massages for that aching muscle. Schedule your appointment today at 912-224-0198 or on the web at mistyselement.com.
Bruce Kennedy Tire is your hometown destination for tires. Michelin, Goodyear, and all the brands you trust. But don't let the name fool you. Bruce Kennedy Tire, located at 2928 Norwich Street, does more than just tires. Brakes, alignments, repair work, and more than I can mention. Bruce Kennedy is locally owned and operated, so you get the best service in Glynn County. So give Bruce a call at 912-264-6578. Bruce Kennedy Tire, a name you can trust. Get affordable health care when you need it. At Apple Care Immediate Care, our team of compassionate health care providers is dedicated to treating each patient with the highest standard in health care. Located at 1111 Glencoe Parkway, Apple Care is open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Apple Care welcomes all walk-ins from pediatric to adult ages and accepts most insurance plans. Visit us at applecaredoctors.com and like us on Facebook.
Hello, Glynn Academy Red Terror fans. It's an exciting time of the year when football season starts. It's also an exciting time of the year if you are buying a home and need a great mortgage team on your side. The smart folks at Somerset Mortgage will help you lock in the best rates and closing costs, but more importantly, they have the patience and expertise you need to get you to the closing table. Call Somerset to find out more. 638-2020, conveniently located next to Outback on St. Simon's. Somerset, 638-2020.
It's time to get together with friends and family to enjoy great games, great food, and a great atmosphere at Loco's on St. Simon's Island. Loco's has something for everyone with their classic sandwiches, fresh salads, and specialty burgers. And Loco's award-winning wings, from traditional boneless or slow roasted, means it's time to get your wings on. With football season starting, don't forget to catch the game at Loco's too. Be sure to like Loco's on Facebook to keep up with the latest. Have your friends meet you at the Moose.
Welcome back to the Glynn Academy Red Terror Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kevin Price, on location from Loco's Grill and Pub on St. Simon's. This segment brought to you by Misty's Element Massage, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care, Immediate Care, and Somerset Mortgage. And Coach, I guess just kind of give us an analysis of where you are at this point. 3 games into the season, you had an off week to kind of sit back, take a deep breath, and kind of analyze things from an X's and O's standpoint, and just all across the program. Just talk about where you are after going through summer camp and then your first 3 games.
Well, I think the one thing that I've realized after 3 games is, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, and we have a chance to really build this and grow into something special. The other side of that is I feel like we have a chance to win and win big this year. I think our players are learning. We get better every day, and a lot depends on how fast they kind of learn those things and accept those things and are able to change. And change is never easy, but we have a chance to kind of get in here, get in the playoffs, and really make some noise when we get in the playoffs. I mean, I feel like we have a tremendous upside with this group of kids. And every day I see us get a little better, get a little better, get a little better. So that's something that I just realized, about this team, is that we got a chance to be good. But the other side is, since I've been here, look, my family, we love it here. I love the school. I love the kids I work with. I love the community. I think we have a chance to build something special here. That's something that I genuinely believe. I feel more strongly about it now that I've been here since May than I did before I took the job. I believed we could. Now I know we can. And we just got to get in. It's funny when you, as a coach, I sit here and we're in the middle of the season, and I want to get in and compete this season, but there's so much work to do this off season that I'm kind of trying to put my plans together so when the season's over with, we can get to work. And I'm as excited about doing that in some ways as I am about coaching the team right now, because I think there's a lot of things we can put in place to make our program really dynamic in the coming years.
And sort of a question like that, you wanted to come in and you got to concentrate on this season and trying to do everything you can to win on Friday nights this year, but you've got to look at the whole picture and look at development and things like that. Is it sort of a dicey situation sometimes? Like, do I play a kid who's a sophomore or junior, maybe equally as talented as the junior or senior ahead of him, knowing that I'm going to get that guy for 3 years, or do you just kind of have to watch situations like that and analyze them one by one?
Well, you want to play guys that can help you win. That's the biggest thing. And guys who can help you win. You never sacrifice today. You know, guys who go, I'm going to play all my young guys and be good in 3 years. Well, you're not training guys to win. We want to train guys to compete to win, and guys who are good enough to win, we want to play today. We want to develop players as well as we go through there. So, you know, we don't really get into that so much. We've got some young players playing in front of older kids, and that has nothing to do with tomorrow. It has everything to do with today, that they've established themselves as good enough to play this year and beating guys out of jobs. And some of those jobs are always in flux. And I tell kids, if you want to get on the field, then get your butt out there and practice and earn it, and you do it in practice. And that's something that our kids are learning about. I mean, for whatever reason, that's something that was kind of lacking here. They didn't practice well, and we still don't practice great, but we practice better. And we're having to learn that if you want to play, you got to go out and earn it in practice. It's not a, you know, effort's not a sometimes thing. And if you go hard, you go hard all the time, and you deserve to get in games like Friday.
This is the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. And Coach, just in terms of the future, I know you want to keep Camden on the schedule year after year, and we talked about that last week, but I know there's not a lot of open room on the schedule, but in terms of non-region games, but would you maybe look to go to your Atlanta roots and schedule some of the better teams up there, maybe play a Florida or an Alabama school, some things like that, just things that make it fun for the kids too?
Yeah, you know, without going into any details, we're already working on, you know, I've been pestering Dave Hunt and I.J. Rosenberg, who run the Corky Kell. I want to try to get our team in the Corky Kell. A lot of that depends on us having good seasons. And if we win, I think down the road they want to get more South Georgia teams in there. I want to have a chance to take my football team up and play in the new Atlanta Falcons Stadium one day and show it Metro Atlanta kind of who we are, and be a great experience for the kids. Likewise, those out-of-state games, we've got a real good opportunity because we're down here near Florida to play those games. I won't go on record and say, but we're working on something after the season. We're going to get together and maybe work on something for a big out-of-season game, and we have some chance to get that done there.
All right, and Coach, just a couple of overall issues in the football world right now. Obviously, the Ray Rice thing has been a big deal in the last week. I'm not going to ask you to get into that situation, but when things like that happen, issues like that, and you can localize them for your kids, I guess, in a practice before, a huddle before a practice, or a post-game talk or something. Do you try to take things like that and put them into a learning kind of situation for your kids? To, you know, you got to make good decisions. You got to watch what you do, how you treat people, whatever the issue may be.
Yeah, we're always looking for opportunities to do that with our kids. You know, one thing we preach with our kids all the time: be a good person, be a good student. You know, be a good American out in the public. We talk to our kids about that all the time. Because you never know. I tell people this is the benefit of the doubt bank when you're going to need that. And I'm a big believer that in your day-to-day life, if you're good to other people, when you need it, the universe will pay you back. And it may not come back from money, but it does come back from, you know, sometimes you just have, you know, in my job, sometimes you have bad seasons, and sometimes if you're a jerk and you have a bad season, they fire you. Well, I want, if I have one bad season, the people in the community look around and go, you know, Coach Dad was a really good guy. Let's give him another year. Not let's get rid of him because he's a jerk. I mean, and so that's real important. I only hire coaches who are good fathers and good husbands, because I believe in modeling that stuff for our kids. I think it's important that they see me. I have my son out there at practice all the time. My wife comes on the field. She comes to practice. I'm sure to tell her I love her in front of those guys, because I want them to see that's how you're supposed to treat your wife. That's how you're supposed to treat your kids. And that doesn't mean I don't discipline my kids, and I do it around the players. But it is something about showing them how to be a dad and how to be a husband. And I expect all of my coaches to do those things, because we've got a greater responsibility other than just winning games, and that's really important. But the biggest thing is when a kid leaves our program, I want him to be a Red Terror for the next 40 years, not just the 4 years he's in high school. And so if he's going to be a Red Terror for 40 years, he's got to learn how to be a man. And, I'm a big believer. I think we take boys and turn them into men in a lot of different ways, and that part of coaching is just as important to me as winning games.
All right, Coach, and I know you're an LSU guy, but the big game in the country, or at least in the SEC yesterday, was Georgia against South Carolina. Your defense gets you a turnover. You're first and goal on the 4. You've got one of the best players in college football lining up in your backfield. Is there any doubt where the ball should go, even though everybody in the stadium knows it?
Mike Bobo is a friend of mine. I will say that I think, listen, I have been in Georgia for a long time, and I am a diehard LSU fan. And if I could have any one football team in America win a national championship other than LSU, it would be the University of Georgia, and simply because I think Mark Richt is the best man in football. I think if my son were a great high school player, I would want him to play for Mark Richt because I think he's the best man. I think that's important. And Mike Bobo, since I've been in Georgia, has taken a lot of heat about being an offensive coordinator, all those things. I went to the Georgia LSU game, and Georgia was hanging 50 on LSU, and LSU was hanging 50 on Georgia, and everybody was complaining about Mike Bobo. I was sitting in the Georgia section, and I kind of looked around, and I was like, why doesn't somebody complain about the defense? I really believe Mike Bobo is a really good offensive coordinator. If you look back, Georgia has been consistently good on offense. He has developed quarterbacks. They've never had a bad quarterback under Mike Bobo. He's done a great job developing quarterbacks, and I think he's a great coach. That being said, he's probably looking in the mirror this morning. Sometimes as coaches you make mistakes, and you do. And it's Mark Richt's job to go out there and defend Mike Bobo and go, well, you know, Coach did a great job. Mike Bobo's a great football coach. Me personally, I give the ball to Todd Gurley and with a chance to win the game. You've got a big horse you're riding, and he is a big horse. And, you know, it was probably one of those things. Mike Bobo's probably kicking himself in the pants today. But as a guy who lives in Georgia, and all my friends are Georgia fans, I remind them all the time that guy's a really good football coach. He's done a great job with them offensively, and they'll be fine.
All right, well, good answer, Coach. I appreciate that. All right, thanks for joining us for the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Come out each Sunday to Loco's Grill and Pub on St. Simon's. We'll be here at 6:30 for the Coach Hidalgo Show each week. I'm Kevin Price signing off. Thanks, everybody.